concerning asteroids that are close to Earth, whether we find them or they're a surprise to us. They're a threat to mankind, and European Space Agency chief admits that he has fears concerning earthbound rocks. Can we protect Earth from these inbound asteroids or comets? It's not only the Moon and Mars that has marks from these collisions, these impacts, it's also our Earth. Australia, for example, has confirmed 50 asteroid impact craters, and there are hundreds of them confirmed around the world. So this has been part of our history. And the one that has the most impact, the most famous one, was the one that was the dinosaur killer that struck Earth 66 million years ago around the Yucatan Peninsula in the Gulf of Mexico, that ended the dinosaurs and a lot of other life forms on Earth. Now, an asteroid on collision course with Earth could be a threat to mankind, according to ESA Chief Mark Shepard, and he heads up plans to protect the Earth from such impacts. Asteroids are the small rocky bodies in our inner solar system orbiting our Sun, and their collision, known as impact events, were significant in the past, shaping our planets. And NASA is constantly watching for new near-Earth objects as potentially hazardous objects, and if they could pose a threat to life on Earth. And they're also planning for the worst-case scenario. Mark Shepard heads up European Space Agency's Hydra program, and here is a mission to test whether it would be possible to deflect a huge space rock which is coming towards Earth. He said in 2019, asteroids are quite an interesting topic, as they can be a really useful opportunity to just think of the resources and utilization that some companies are thinking about, in other words, mining asteroids. But they can be a threat to us, obviously. Just imagine if an asteroid was on collision course with Earth, it could be a bigger one than we've ever had in the past. And what would we do to mitigate this? Something serious would happen to Earth and mankind. So currently, he said, we're looking on to study the investigation and get an opportunity or possibility to deflect or mitigate or deviate the asteroid off its trajectory towards Earth. Shepard revealed that the ESA has teamed up with NASA, launching a satellite to investigate asteroid mechanics and how to deflect a potential asteroid which would bring an extinction level event to Earth. He said, we're targeting a binary asteroid, which is an asteroid and a smaller one rotating around it. It's a little moonlet. This is the Didymos twin asteroid. And he said, by hitting or impacting the small one, we will modify its path around the big one and measure the effects. In other words, they're trying to move the little moonlet to see if they're successful to do that, if they could somehow use that as a real-life experiment as to how they can move an asteroid. He said, then we can transfer that understanding to a large asteroid on its way to Earth. And he said, knowing how an asteroid works or behaves before it's on collision course with Earth would allow us to put an impactor on the asteroid and modify the path slightly so it does not hit Earth. And Shepard went on into more detail about the overall the project known as AIDA, AIDA, is short for Asteroid Impact and Deflection Assessment. And he explains that the impactor would be a probe, like a spacecraft, or a satellite arriving at a very high speed, and the momentum would be transferred to the asteroid and slightly modify its path. The NASA and ESA cooperation is called AIDA, and we will be responsible for the monitoring spacecraft, and the Americans would work on the impactor. And the possible scenario for a future deflection mission would be to launch the impactor at a speed approximately 6 or 7 kilometers per second, that's roughly 21,000 kilometers per hour, straight into the asteroid. The original plan calls for the European spacecraft and the asteroid impact mission, AIM, to operate together with a large NASA impactor called the Double Asteroid Redirect Test, or DART for short, and then they'll observe the immediate effects of the impact. Was it successful in moving the little moonlet out of its trajectory or not? Now, AIM was cancelled in 2016 when Germany was unable to fund its portion, and after some backlash within the ESA, and since then has been replaced with another program called Hera, H-E-R-R-A, and that will launch 5 years after DART to orbit and study the crater on the asteroid. DART is currently planned to impact in 2 years, in 2022, on the small moonlet of the asteroid Didymus, meaning twin in Greek, while Hera will arrive in 2027, 5 years after DART has impacted, in order to see what has happened. Hopefully it will be successful, and they have to have some way of mitigating an inbound asteroid. Now, from what the astronomers are telling us, there's no way they can find everything. For example, in August of last year, there was an amateur astronomer who found an interstellar comet coming at us, and the major space agencies said they could not possibly find that coming in at us because their huge telescopes cannot dip far down close to the horizon in order to see these things coming that low in the horizon. And this amateur astronomer, Borisov, was looking at the sun towards the horizon when he discovered this interstellar comet. So there are amateur astronomers that are discovering space rocks coming at us, thank goodness. And his interstellar comet was, of course, confirmed by NASA and the major space agencies. So they are coming at us. Sometimes they see them way in advance. Other times they only see them within a day or two. And how can you mitigate something when you see it a day or two before it arrives close to us? That's another question. This is on Express UK by Callum Hoare. And according to Space Weather, we have near-Earth asteroids. There's a chart here, I'll leave a link below for you. Space rocks larger than 300 feet across can come closer to Earth than 0.05 AU. 1 AU is 93 million miles. It's the distance between the Sun and our Earth. None of these potentially hazardous asteroids, PHAs, is on collision course with our planet, although astronomers are finding new ones all the time. On February 16, today, there were 2018 potentially hazardous asteroids that they have on their charts. This is the NASA chart. And I guess the next one, from what I see coming close to us, would be in the pink code, February 19th, 3.9 lunar distances at 15.4 kilometers per second, and it has a small diameter of about 16 meters. That's about 50 feet across. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.